Welcome back. It is day 25 of 30 of my talking to the camera journey. And in today's video, I wanted to talk about the importance of pushing through. Pushing through when you sense resistance, pushing through when you sense fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Because today, matter of fact, I was feeling quite a bit of hesitation from a particular scenario. So I've been taking improv classes since late October, November, if you will. And I'm now in level 4, entering into that phase of my journey. Time flies. And there are these occasional, what's called an improv jam, that'll happen on Sundays. Sometimes it's every week, I believe. I think the format typically shifts up. But I made it a point to commit to going to an improv jam today because entering into this new level 4 class, I'm in there with a bunch of new players, still getting used to styles, getting to know them as we progress through this. We're only in week 2. But I got into this mind frame of judging my natural talents, judging where I'm at currently in my development creatively when it comes to improv, and just in this cycle of comparison to the other members taking class with me. And as much as I like to try and analyze things, read about things, I came to the conclusion that I just had to just get reps in. That's just how it is in general. Like I spoke about the other day as far as repetition goes. Repetition, getting reps, and getting familiar. And as it was getting closer and closer to the time, it was happening today at 6 p.m., I found myself trying to cheat out of it. Just coming up with an excuse in my mind as far as why I just wouldn't go. Or maybe I'll show up so late that now I'm not even going to participate. So many wild scenarios going through my mind. Just fear, just trying to hold me back and keep me comfortable in the same spot. And I reviewed my identity statement I made to myself this morning, that I made to myself even last week. I recorded a voice memo that I was going to be playing back to myself every morning and every night before I go to bed or before I start my day, just to steep in that concept of being the type of person that does the type of things, that then has the experiences. And I'm really taking that true to heart. So as I reminded myself of that, I looked up, I said, F that, where's that thinking coming from? That's not me, that's not who I'm affirming to be. So I mustered up the courage just to push through and show up. And I believe it was my nervous system trying to protect me, because the last time I went to a jam, it was kind of spur of the moment. I didn't even know a jam was happening. I went to a show, and then after that show, there was a jam or whatnot. Went up there, again, just getting in that mindset of comparison as I'm waiting in the wings, watching people perform, where I could jump in, I could support, I could tag people out. And I was just frozen. I maybe jumped in once to join a group game, but I kept thinking back to that moment saying, well, what if that happens again? That's just an error in thinking. Of course, when we start doing something for the first time or newer to a certain level, there are gonna be peaks and valleys as we develop. So it was just simply irrational to think, oh, I show up one time and boom, I'm good. That's not how it works, especially in the creative arts. It's a different challenge for me, and it excites me. And me showing up to this jam this time, I'm so glad I did, because it's funny what fear does to the mind, where you tend to just morph a scenario into the worst case possibility. And then when you show up and you're in that environment, it's never as bad as you think it is. Never. That's never failed. So I show up. I meet great new players of all different levels. Some people who've never done improv before, some people who've never taken classes, some people who've been taking classes for quite some time. And the host did a really good job of taking us through a warm-up, getting the energy up, and just chopping things in terms of the basics and fundamentals before we started running some scene work. And man, I definitely feel I grew a little bit today just from doing that. And I'm taking that into my week going forward in terms of that concept of pushing through that fear, that resistance, that doubt. It's all just a facade at the end of the day. So coming back to the main point of always remind yourself who you are. Remind yourself who you're claiming to be, and just keep steeping yourself in that vision, the words, and sooner rather than later, you'll start to feel naturally how your standards rise to adapt to the person you're now affirming to be. And it's only a matter of time before you have the things that that person has and you experience the things that that person would typically experience. It all rests in the faith. So follow faith. Don't follow fear. Don't give in to it. And that is the moral of that story for the day. So this has been day 25 of my 30-day talking to the camera journey. It's been fun. We're getting close. 5 more days of this journey before we adapt and mold this into whatever beautiful next thing that God is calling me to start creating. So thanks for listening. Again, push through that fear. Don't give in to it. And be the best version of yourself that you can be today, tomorrow, and onward into the future. Thanks for listening.